What were Einstein's political social views in large? And was he an influential person in his time?
The answer to the second is somewhat. So he was the most famous scientist in the world. He was this great genius who was seen as a genius and used the platform. He said at one point, I have a version of the Midas touch. Everything I say turns to newsprint. And so he used that platform to be overtly political. He had left Germany to go follow his family to Italy. And when he did so, he renounced his German citizenship. He did that for two reasons. The pragmatic reason was he didn't want to have to serve in the German military, which would have been mandatory. And the second was that Germany had just become a country 8 years before Einstein's birth. There was this very patriotic, nationalistic element that he found just distasteful. There were military parades, and he just found militarism and nationalism to be inherently immoral. And so politically, he is very much pro-democracy. He's very much someone who sees all people as valuable. And that leads to an economic view where he was a socialist. He saw economic systems as disenfranchising, especially the poor. Einstein always had a soft spot for the vulnerable. And so he writes an essay called Why Socialism, which is basically a moral plea for economic equality. And so for Einstein, there was a fundamental commitment to universal human equality. He would, in German, right, there is both the formal and the specific, the informal. And he would talk to everyone using du, using the informal, whether it was the university president or whether it was a janitor. He'd speak to everyone the same way, which of course rankled certain people within the structure. But he thought that hierarchy, inequality was not only false, but harmful. And so this was a Germany that saw itself as rightfully taking its place as the dominant nation in Europe. And he opposed it at a time when this was very much a popular view. And so he was an outsider. He used the term Einstein, a lone horse. He was a horse pulling the cart in a different direction in his own, a horse of a different color. He had no problem being the outsider, the rebel, but always a rebel fighting for the vulnerable.